there's a time I went back. I did. I literally
Where did you go?
I went back to the shop and then they had to come now fetch me.
To the shop where and did what?
I just stood there. My mom said they said I should go back to where I'm coming from. I went back. Like, bruh.
And then they say if you go back, you are disobedient.
You are disobedient.
What do you mean you say?
Yeah.
The first party I was allowed to go to, I was 21. What? First party. They were like, yes, you can go. I was 21. Okay, I'm going to my friend's 21st birthday party. Okay, cool. Yes, you can go. 1 o'clock in the afternoon. You need to leave so that you can be able to come back on time.
When it's like a social thing where I have to come, it's always no. Birthday parties, no thing. Like, and then you expect
And then all of a sudden, now you have a birthday party.
And then no one knows
who's gonna come. Hi guys! Welcome back to another episode of Chats with the Girls. I'm Tumi.
I'm Violet.
I'm Sipo.
And this is Chats with the Girls. Please be engaged in the conversation. Also give us your feedback in the comment section and tell us what more you'd like us to talk about. So yeah, enjoy. Sipo, over to you.
Okay guys, so we are going to be speaking about toxic parenting. And where this comes from is, so I'm part of a group on Facebook, like a page actually, not a group. And it has been posting things for people anonymously. So there's a post that I remembered from last year, I believe. So this child is about 20. She's in varsity and she was just venting that she doesn't know what to do. Her and the mom had like a fallout, and that's because she did not wash dishes for the night. But those dishes were supposed to be washed by her little sister. So the mom came home from an event, found the dishes not done, got angry, confronted her since she's the eldest, and she just said she had like a mental breakdown, low-key, because she always finds that the little sister is favored more, blah, 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 blah. So now, it was a huge story in the sense that the punishments that the parents gave to her was that they're not going to be providing transport for her to go to school, and they used to Uber her every morning to and fro, but now that was not happening. And actually there was a time when she was coming back from school and it was raining and they literally just passed her walking there. So she was actually contemplating quitting school. That was the main topic, and she was just asking for advice. And then the mom came, guys, and told her side of the story. And when I tell you, she is the red flag she was seeing there. All I have to say about what the mom said was that everything that the child said is 100% true. Favoritism, the harsh punishment, the verbal abuse, you can see it from that text where she wrote. What I like about that group actually, when someone responds, is that your emotions are heightened. You are probably very angry, you feel pissed, even if it's anonymous, you feel seen, and it you feel seen that, oh my gosh, like someone actually exposed my story out there. So your emotions are high, and that is why I feel like every single time people are actually able to show exactly who they are. It's because their emotions are all over the place. They'll be angry and stuff. So yeah, I actually commented, and I remember my comment actually got a lot of engagements because my concern was that the parents, like abangandani, I don't know how to call it in English. No one is calling they're not calling each other out. They're not, and the child has no one else to go to. If mama is too angry, who is the child supposed to go to? Because it's still a child. They still need to be taken care of. They still need to go to school. They still need to eat. They've apologized. I remember she even cooked dinner this one time. Nothing helped. So between the parents. So my concern was the safety of the child, considering uba akekho between the two, like they're not calling each other out.
Yeah.
So yeah, I basically just wanted us to discuss that. We're not parents as yet, but we are children. And I feel like we are children.
I didn't ask you, are you?
I'm not a parent.
Oh, okay.
sorry.
I'm like,
But we are children.
We are children.
But we are children, and I feel like when you're a child, you also have like the perspective of being a child, and I feel like it's important. So yeah,
There's so many things that are showing up here.
Yeah.
So first of all, it's the favoritism. That's one thing that I find like toxic parents have. Like when you have a couple of kids, but only like you have different treatment towards the kids. I hate witnessing it. I hate it so much, and I'm just like, if you chose to have kids, like you should show them the same love, because like the emotional damage that comes with like, okay, cool, these people are my parents, but in the house I feel like I'm less loved and so forth. And the fact that like now, because she's the oldest, she has to be held accountable for the younger ones actions. I really don't get that, like, and I really don't get why parents would put the responsibility on the older one to like be accountable for the younger one. And now when they go to this drastic measures, they're like, no, they're not gonna provide transport for her. They're gonna think they still expect her to go to school. What if she stops going to school? What are they gonna do now?
Exactly.
Like, are they like, what are you saying actually as a parent if you're gonna like start treating your child like that? What are you saying? Move out of my house. What are you saying? Like, what is she aiming to achieve from that, instead of having open communication and saying like, okay, cool, in this situation I was hurt that you then reacted or talked to me like this. But giving your child silent treatment and then like letting them go to school 30 kilometers by foot, if she moves out and then goes and has like cuts them out of, like, that's a big consequence of their action. But are they gonna say now it's the child's fault?
My thing with parenting is parents need to be mindful when they are raising kids, that you don't raise kids that will need to then heal from your parenting as adults. And when I was thinking about this, it brought me back to the issue of how these parents would have been raised themselves. I think it's a circle. It's a chain. It's a chain in terms of maybe they were raised in a certain way and it worked for me. I mean, this is how I was raised. I turned out fine. If my parents would tell me one thing, I'm supposed to do that, no questions asked. I'm a child in this house, and if my parents say this, then I'm supposed to do that. Little do they understand that times change, guys. We are nothing like them, and they are raising us in a totally different era. We are exposed to a whole lot of things. I mean, children these days are able to do like the most drastic things. You have a 12-year-old committing suicide. I mean, it was very rare, if not even possible, back in the days to have a 17-year-old committing suicide. So parents don't understand that at some point this vicious circle and this chain will need to be broken at some point, because when you are raising kids, we need to be very, very careful that we don't raise kids that will grow up into their adulthood and feel the need to heal from our parenting.
I like the fact that you brought up the like, it's a cycle. So they say, okay, I turned out fine, my parents parented me this way.
You didn't because you are doing the same.
Yes, you didn't turn out fine. I remember when I started with my husband in a relationship. So when you are still getting to know each other, like as we spoke about everything, if we wanna have kids, how are we gonna discipline our kids or not? And the argument I had with him I was like, I do not want to hit my children. I know what that thing did to me. It just made me afraid. I'm someone who's clumsy. I've always been clumsy. I'm clumsy now. And when you're a child, if you break something, you're gonna get hit. And like now now you attach your mistake into like, now you're gonna get beaten. Now in my house, if I break something, I just sweep it up and I think. So what were you trying to teach me? Because it didn't stop me from being clumsy. It just made me very scared. So that's the kind of thing, like I was like, okay, cool, I don't want to go and hit my child, because a lot of children I hit and they still do those things anyway. It's just that's being like, okay, cool, I know I'm gonna get beaten and stuff. It doesn't teach them anything. When a child is growing up, obviously, like you can't necessarily say, like they don't communicate when they're 1, 2 or 3, but there comes a point where like some things you just don't do because that's how they're done. You need to have conversation, like, why is this happening? Why are you doing like a certain thing? Why do you feel this way? If that woman came after the event and was like, there are dishes here, why are there still dishes? And then you wake up the person whose turn it was not, and then they express, oh, but I feel like there's favoritism. I feel like that was a point where she had to be like, whoa, actually my child feels like this, and actually dealt with that, instead of like taking it personal. And then now you understand how childish that is for you as a parent to do that, like to just be like, I can't be challenged by my child, so I'm just gonna punish them for actually expressing really how they feel. So like there's always this negative connection to like you being expressing who you are in your home, because you know, like if I tell the truth, it's not gonna be taken well. Strict parents have breeded a community of good liars. Like,
they have.
Good liars. Like, you just become a good liar. It's not like you are good or like they did their job. You're just a good liar. Parents need to be careful. Like, okay, if I do this and I open up this kind of environment, I'm just saying like my kids could like must lie to me, because that child is gonna. I can imagine she's 20, she still depends on her parents, she lives at home. She's gonna do anything, like if they say, okay, we'll forgive you as long as you say you'll never do it again, whatever. She might like be like, I'll never do it, and she will just suppress those feelings. She's still financially dependent herself. She's forced now to do what the parents want, which is like, I find it
and
so
I think it
crazy.
also like just bats hatred within the children, because now I'm sitting here and this 20-year-old feels that this younger one is being favored, this younger one gets away with everything, they don't have to do anything in the house, they don't have to help with chores, and they are never in trouble. It breeds a hatred between the siblings, because the younger one is also like, I mean, it's not my home. If the parents are the ones that are telling you to do the dishes, then do the dishes. You know what I mean? And kids end up drifting apart from each other. Kids end up hating each other, and parents don't realize what it. Should anything happen, God forbid, and your parents die, literally the only people you have in the world, it might not be the only people, but the closest people that you have in the world will be your siblings. And you need to raise your children in such a way that should anything happen to me, I know for a fact that they have each other's backs.
I'm gonna relate to black parents a lot, because that's the only
reference we have.
That I just don't think that children are seen as human beings, and I feel like it stems from there. As a child, you don't have a say in the house, and then this busbakanjani that you don't have a say when you're alive and you're a human being, and they are literally trying to groom you to be this person that is independent and take over the world. So how do you not have a say up until you get out of that house? When now are you going to start having the say?
Thank you. I always say
you don't have a say up until for like 18, 19, 20 years,
22
and
years,
then 22 years all of a sudden you have a say outside of the house. How are you going to start having a say in important things and for yourself and standing up for yourself when you haven't had a say for the past 23, 22 years, you know? I think it just stems from the fact that like really children are just not seen as people and as human beings. I'm very vocal and like about my feelings and stuff like that, and when I was actually like also in therapy, I realized it's from the way that our parents disciplined us, and that's because they would sometimes actually summon you into a meeting. So they would tell you, okay, we are basically holding you accountable for this. What do you have to say for yourself,
Yeah.
you know? And then you get a chance to actually explain your thinking, even though sometimes it's stupid. But you get a chance to say, okay, I lost track of time.
Why were you late?
Why were you late? I lost track of time, or I didn't do this. It's things like that. And for me, that just gave me a chance to just be vocal. So I think it's just important to see kids as people. And like I'm not okay. I am a child.
But the thing, like when a child like makes a valid point, or when a child expresses something and it's like or thing, and you like, this person has feelings, has everyday experiences. There are some things that don't make them comfortable, there are some things that don't make them happy. That's why so many times like children like hide the fact that they're being abused or things, because they can't communicate things that don't make them happy, and they can't, like, there's this thing out there, there's a gap between old people and children, so you can't,
there's a line that can be crossed.
There's a line that can be crossed. For me, the biggest thing is that I have to build this person's character. I have to be attentive to and when I say right now, I know for a fact I'm at a point where I'm not gonna be able to impart what I want to impart in a child, and because I don't want to end up in a point where like, okay, cool, I was still trying to build my career, I was still thinking, I'm sorry, I missed all of these things that you're experiencing. And if someone doesn't have a say for the first 22 years of their lives, are they gonna now become this powerful person that can do somehow where does the switch come? So I think before even we are healing ourselves from all those like generational things that we experience, but a lot of people are not thinking about the actual magnitude of building someone from when they're young.
I think here's another thing here is that parents don't realize also how much it affects so many other aspects of your life when they do that, because they're not raising you to come and sit at home for the rest of your life. You are at some point bound to go to school, you are at some point bound to work, you are at some point bound to get into relationships, into a marriage, and you then meet people that were raised to stand up for themselves and be able to be vocal about how they feel. And now you are sitting here in a company and you have a toxic manager or a toxic environment, and you have your colleagues constantly shouting on top of you, and you are unable to stand up for yourself because you've always been taught or thought this is authority, and you just don't, you don't question, you don't speak, you don't do anything. So not only does it affect you at home, it affects you in so many other aspects of your life. It breaks you down in doing so many other things. You could be literally the smartest kid in the room, but not being able to be vocal about how smart you are, not being able to just put yourself out there and be able to say, no, I mean, I don't want to do this, I don't like this is not right, this is a toxic environment, I don't want to be here. You are unable to say that because you've always been raised to believe that when it comes to authority, you simply just don't say anything.
Just accept.
You just accept it and you keep it moving.
You keep it moving. Even when you know you are right, you have to accept that you are wrong. You have to accept your punishment. You have to think. So it bleeds into everything, like how you deal with conflict within friends, how you deal, like you're saying, your colleagues will be talking over you, shouting at you, and you're just like, okay, cool, I have to just accept it because this is like, I'm sorry, but why are you sorry? Like, why are you sorry? What are you sorry for? Like, that open communication, like in your formative years, actually contributes so much to the type of adult you are. I don't know if your black parents did that, but have you ever went somewhere, like say for instance, like you go to the shop and you go for too long, then you get back and your parents are so mad at you. You don't. The thing is also they never give you context of why they are angry. Now when I'm older, I get okay. They were scared. You might have gotten lost or something. And then like go back to where you're coming from. And like there's a time I went back. I did. I literally.
Where did you go?
I went back to the shop and then they had to come now fetch me.
To the shop and did what?
I just stood there. My mom said they said I should go back to where I'm coming from. I went back, like bruh.
And then they say if you go back, you are disobedient.
You are disobedient.
What do you mean you say?
Yeah. And then now you're gonna be beaten for the fact that you went back. But you
so they
said I
came to
should
fetch
go.
you there and they found you there at the shop waiting.
I was just like,
What did they say?
I don't remember what happened, but I just knew there was a hiding after that. Like, bruh. As when we were young, like I think I was just we were getting hit for every and anything. There's a time like when we there was a flood, and then we were like, yo, there's so much water in the river, so we went swimming and everything like that. So now when I get home, like so we took off our clothes, but we were in our panties, like, and we were swimming there and everything. So I get home and my mom pulls my panty and she's like, what happened? I was like, I got hit. I got beaten. So now I'm like, in all those situations, I see like, okay, cool.
Anxiety.
It's they were scared. Like they're trying to say like you shouldn't swim in, like it's dangerous. I can't swim so I might drown.
Exactly.
You're gonna drown, you're gonna like it's not safe. But why not sit down and be like, can you not do that because it's not safe? You literally will die.
But also kids are rebellious, guys.
Kids are
very rebellious.
That's true.
Your parents will sit you down and tell you don't do this, and the reasoning behind that is this, and then you will do it because what I want to boss, okay, mom. Kids will literally
the thing is, you still gonna do it anyway. So it's the
parenting,
same.
I feel like requires a lot of patience.
It requires a lot of patience.
Because
like some people get anyway. So
like also that's the attitude that a lot of people had in my high school. But like I'm just gonna do this and then I know I'm gonna get beaten and then I'll be fine.
Like literally.
So what is
primary,
the point?
high school? It's always like shapua and like literally shapua and then what, like that's what's gonna happen. But the thing is, I think if they explain the magnitude of the risk of what you're doing, like if you wander around, like we get scared, and this how sharp I feel. I'm like, okay, cool, sharp.
Just introduce healthy forms of punishment and discipline. It's not to say you can't punish your child at all. Like I know other healthy ways is to just take away some like privileges, and you make your child realize that they have a phone. It's a privilege. They can get to go out and play with others. That's trust that you give them that they are playing with, because you trust them to go out and be safe. And they are there by Tumi's place, Kantibona, they are there at the river. So you're gonna take away that trust, you know. So I feel like it's very like important to just introduce healthy forms of punishment and discipline. And I think every time we bring up that topic of like corporal punishment and giving kids a hiding, people just think we mean but do not discipline a child at all. And I am being jalo.
Now I feel like, and also always explain why. Like just don't like
make me see reason.
Tell them exactly. Okay, like how people is saying. Even with that, don't just be like, I'm gonna lock you in the house and not explain why. Because the reason why kids will be punished for something and they keep on doing it is because I don't understand why. Like I will still come back, shapua, because I was late. I'm not understanding that shapua because you it's not safe. I have a little brother. So we went to what is that place called? My Little Africa it's in Free State. So when we were walking in, that guy warns everyone. He says like, you know what, a lot of kids die here because of the swimming pool. If your kid can't swim, can you please not let them? So he was talking to us as adults, but my little brother heard, and we had even come with that like swimming thing for him, and stuff. He was like he wouldn't go near there because he heard people die, and the fact that he heard that, he was like, I'm not gonna play there because I know I can't swim. And that's all that it took for him to have heard that the danger of you playing in the water is that you might die.
And make the decision
it was not like sky, because usually they just say skayamo. Why are you skayamo?
The kid is gonna go there. Also, they're seeing other kids playing.
They're not gonna go there. Because whether you just said skayamo, why? Like that's a thing. Since I was very young, I was so used, like, you know, when you know the answers always no, like it's always no. Why? I don't know, it's always no. So it was that thing, like that's where like I actually started having a drift with having friends, because they'd want us to go somewhere or whatever, and I stopped even asking for permission. I would just say no to my friends. I would just be like, nah, I'm not gonna go. Like in high school, we were in hostel, right? So
I remember that anxiety of asking.
And then like
parents.
when we were at home for holidays and stuff, I didn't ask. I just said
and that anxiety.
No. And you practice a week
and then you have to
and you anticipate what they're gonna say, and then you practice. If they say utamaya lima, you already have the answer to that.
Have to
if
know,
they say ubuya nakomang, you already have the answer to that. They don't even ask any of those questions. The answer is just no. I was not allowed to go out in the streets until I think I was about 16, 17. I was literally already out of
that time. That time,
like
you had no friends.
Exactly, I'd literally stand by the gate and watch the children
and
play.
then they get shocked that you don't have
and then
friends.
now I don't know how
I don't have the experience. Like for me now, it's so easy to say no and be left out, because I was used to watching everyone on social media post, and I'm at home. Me and my sister, I remember every day first I would cry because I want to be outside, but like I'm not allowed to be outside. And only now in my adult age I know why my mom used to say no. On the 16th, she's a nurse, so she only told me now because she's now allowing my sister, but she's still scared. So she tells me, she's like, no, because I worked at ER, I know on these days, like that's where like people are more violent and stuff. So you could have just said that, and I can assure you, okay, we will be safe because we're gonna be here and here. Not all the time I was gonna be safe, and you can't protect someone forever. Like
that's true.
I can walk out on a random day and someone shoots me or something.
Exactly.
But I understand the fear that she has. But I didn't understand it back then.
The first party I was allowed to go to, I was 21.
What?
First party, they were like, yes, we can go. I was 21. My mom picked me a bag with a scarf and a shawl and a pair of jeans, and I'm just like, where am I taking all these things?
What are the shawls and the things?
Pella, now you can't be cold.
Oh.
Now you must have all these things. So now, okay, I'm going to my friend's 21st birthday party. Okay, cool, yes, you can go. 1 o'clock in the afternoon. You need to leave Pella so that you can be able to come back on time.
Get it all 21.
On time how? Because these people are probably still out shopping.
Yeah.
Get to this person's house and do what?
And do what? Because now you're making everything awkward.
Like at an event, it was the 21st as well, actually. Like the event started late, and she was literally asking where she is at 2:30. Ask her.
And this is that late. That's a thing. The things start late.
And she has so much anxiety.
My niece was in matric last year. And so my older sister's like, this one wants to go to matric dance. Guys, how do we deal with it?
Hey, but what do you mean?
Why are we dealing?
What are you dealing
My
with?
second eldest sister said, no problem. She can go. I'll be there with her. So I will go there, and then I will chill somewhere there in a table outside somewhere just to make sure that she's well behaved. I'm just like, guys, please.
But
guys, please, you need to relax.
Life
really isn't that deep.
Yeah, it's
honestly
not. It's not. And allow someone to have their own experiences. Allow, like,
because that's the only way we
protecting
learn.
someone from mistakes, protecting someone from life, like, just cripples them. Like, because you don't know how to deal with certain situations. It just cripples, like, the fact that I'm antisocial now could have been prevented. Like, I really find it as a handicap for myself, because the world is really an extrovert world, and being able to communicate, to get forward in life, in business, you need to be able to talk to me. You need to be able to reason. For me, as soon as someone challenges me, I feel like I have upset them. So I want to just apologize and go back to my shell. Whereas it's like a conversation, you need to explain, this is where I'm coming from, this is what I'm... And also, when you always believe the answer is no, you will never ask. The connections that will get you forward in life is the people you know around you. So if you are not fostering relationships around you, how are you getting forward in life? Like, how are you doing that? So like, so many tiny rules that you just enforce because life, like my parents did that, we are gonna do that. You don't realize like affect your children in the long run. I think this topic of like friends is the one I can make an example of, because I think that's where I was most affected, because of the constantly no. I knew I never showed up, and then next thing it was a thing of like I'm not close to anyone. Because when it's like a social thing where I have to come, it's always no. Birthday parties, no thing. Like, and then you expect
and then all of a sudden now you have a birthday party
and then no one's gonna come. Who's gonna come, bruh?
Because you don't have friends.
Yeah, when you have your thing, who's gonna show up? You know.
In as much as there's so many downs to it, there's also like highs. Our parents are really trying.
They're really trying.
I think they did. I think at the end of the day, they literally only want what's best for us, even though sometimes they don't really have it
and also
all together, but they really it's really coming from a place of love,
and it's what they know.
That's what they know as well.
It's really what they know. They didn't mean harm or anything like that. I don't think they intended harm, but you know what, the conversations are necessary so that we can break the cycle. But I don't believe like our parents deliberately like meant harm or anything like
they don't,
and they wanted best for us. And like, you know, like the whole thing behind strict parenting is that they want you to turn out well. They want to protect you. So for me, I don't hold anything against my parents. I just realized the flaws that I like, the impact it had on me, and I'm working on it. But I think it's important we have the conversation so that our generation as well, we are like, okay, we are aware. We are also gonna damage. Like, you can be you can have the income, the emotional stability, and somehow there's something that you're gonna do that your kids don't appreciate, or your kids don't necessarily like, you know, like. So we are not going to be perfect, but being aware is important.
It's a start.
It's a start. I think we're good in this one. I think we're good in this one. All right, thank you so much, you guys, for tuning in. Hope you enjoyed the topic. Please comment in the comment section what your views are with regards to these things.
I would like to send a special shout out to Sandiso and thank him so much for keeping it soft with our drinks. Please don't forget to follow him on Instagram for all the ingredients and everything.
Yes.